So people counting losses at this point in time, how much can we really put our fingers on? We have an economist, Chijioke Ekechukwu, who is the MD CEO of Dignity Finance and Investment Limited and a former Director General of the Abuja Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Good to see you. And not too good a story or a day in our national life, but here we are talking about the strike and also counting our losses.
For every single day we encounter this kind of strike, the entire country, individuals, the government, corporate institutions are losing billions, millions of naira. Nigerians are suffering tremendously right now as we speak. Even before the strike, there was so much anxiety in the country arising from high cost of everything. And so if you add the strike, this particular strike, to this anxiety, you know that the quality and standard of life is just going down every day. There's so much frustration, and we shouldn't worsen it with this kind of strike. In fact, this is the worst time to have this kind of strike. Of course, when you look at the side of government and the side of the labor union, you can understand why they are making their points. But the option, obviously, is not a strike, if you ask me. We have reviewed the air travelers that are stranded all over the country, and people have different reasons why they want to travel. The airlines have actually incurred costs for today, buying the aviation fuel and a whole lot of ancillary costs they have incurred. And so if you put the cost of today's strike into Naira and Kobo, it runs into billions. And the same way the cost has run into billions, that's the same way we are losing money as a country. In other words, the GDP we're going to be encountering, are going to be calculating at the end of the year, is going to be reducing by what income or expenditure would have incurred today. So to the economy, it is not a good thing. To an average Nigerian, this is a terrible situation. So I think we hear they are still talking and they're still meeting right now. We expect that they resolve this as quickly as possible, because the impact on Nigerians is not something you and I will want to experience. People are stranded all over the country. Yeah. A lot of people, of course, the national grid has been shut down. A lot of people depend on electricity to do their business. And once you take the thing away for a whole day, their businesses will just destroy. Most of these businesses are things that must depend on light, and must maybe people whose businesses depend on freezers or things like that. Also note, there are a lot of patients in the hospitals all over the country. People are dying right now as we speak just because of this strike. So we need to consider most of this, going beyond the economy and what it causes to the economy, the social aspect of it, the fact that Nigerians are suffering a whole lot right now as we speak. People are stranded everywhere. I've gotten a lot of calls from people who are stranded, people who are on transit from outside the country to get to their final destinations are stranded. So with their families, we need to consider all these people and give it a rethink, and know that the country belongs to all of us. The country belongs to all of us. That this expenditure, this experience is not good for anybody. And so we need to do everything. We need to hasten every effort to end it up.
Indeed. I mean, literally and figuratively, Nigerians are stranded at this time. You said there are other ways apart from going on strike. What are the other options to helping or supporting the cost of living for workers beyond, the wage scale?
If you heard what one of the labor people said all the agreements made by governments, they renege on all of them. If somebody takes you seriously and agrees with you to pull down on a strike, I expect that government should also meet their own side of the bargain. Even if you don't meet all of them, come close and let them know you are serious and they can trust you. And so, if you have agreements with such people, always try to meet your own side of the bargain so that they will also know they can take you seriously. Because the same way you can tell somebody, okay, don't worry, let me go with these goods, tomorrow I will pay you. Government can actually tell them, okay, end this strike, we are going to look into it. And they will agree, if previously they have been meeting their own obligations. But I want them, I don't know the level of discussion they're having right now, but...
As at Saturday,
yes,
when
yes.
the president of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, and other ministers, intervened, there was the proposal that 35,000 naira, wage award by the government that was stopped around February or April should be continued, should be extended somewhat while the negotiations continue. Is that a fair deal? And as a private sector, operator, what really is that realistic living wage? Because Labour is saying we're fighting for living wage, not necessarily minimum wage. What's realistic in terms of figures?
Today, even if the amount they're asking for is given to them with the economic situations, with the inflation rate, with the exchange rate, and with the prices of goods and services, it will still not be enough to meet all the needs of an average family. Don't forget that school fees are going to be paid, and a lot of other things, a lot of other costs of living will be there. Even if you pay them that amount of money, it's still not going to solve that problem. What the country really needs is to start looking at all the economic indicators, to start bringing them down one after the other. What are those things that are making cost of living very high? Address them one after the other, bring down the cost of everything. Inflation rate, exchange rate, cost of goods and services. If there are certain kinds of palliatives, not financial palliatives, that can actually improve the livelihood of Nigerians, then they should actually engage in all those. Because when these monies get into the hands of everybody, eventually, you see that if every other cost of living is high, all those monies will just fizzle out into thin air and we'll go back to the same drawing board. So the economy needs to be settled, to be fair and balanced, as a matter of fact, and a lot of things need to be done. I understand it on the side of government that probably right now they may not have this amount of money to pay, but let certain stepping stones be started in order for them to agree that this is realistic and they can actually meet the eventual agreement they're going to reach. Government needs to take them seriously, and they need to also consider that this is our country, Nigeria. Everybody's suffering it.
Let me come in here. As we speak, we'll talk about government, but again, sometimes I think we have to pluralize it, governments in this case, because sometimes we forget about the states. So in this case, the state governments have been so absent from the conversation. And it will seem as if this is the federal government versus the labor unions. Where are the states in all of this?
Unfortunately, when these agreements are met with the labor union, the next thing we'll hear from the governors is that we don't have the money to pay these wages. You have agreed with these people. And then they'll be seeking for that kind of help from federal government that already say they don't have the money. So a lot of things are wrong. Structurally, a lot of things are wrong. And so if the states are made to account for themselves, you see, I still don't understand how somebody will be working in a state and his salary comes from the federal. Up to today, I don't understand it coming from the private sector. So these are some of the things that are wrong that we need to correct so that states can independently deal with their situations, pay their workers, generate their own revenue, and have access to be able to do work like SBUs, as if they are just income and expenditure places, so that we use it to measure how well states are doing right now.
And Mr. Ekechukwu, one last one from me here would also look at the, the scale of, importance here. Now we're talking about our legislators. We were given timelines, we were given deadlines, and we knew that this was coming. Yeah. And it was so important to the extent that it was shelved and not seen as that important in comparison to going back to the old national anthem. It pains many Nigerians to see that this strike should have been avoided.
Yes. I agree with you. When we talk about some of these things, you just know that there has never been any strike in this country where they did not give warning signal. They just give enough time for this warning to take place. And for even this negotiation that started now to have started some months ago or some weeks ago, so that by now we'd have avoided this. It's honestly unfortunate that things that should be given priorities are not given priority. This is a priority and we should have given it. Today, the extreme of this case is the fact that flights were refused to fly.
Yeah.
That's the extreme. And they need to resolve this in as quickly.
Hospitals.
And the hospitals, yes, the hospitals.
The total shutdown.
People are in ICU
Right.
places. So for you to have total shutdown, most of the hospitals don't have diesel to run their generators, and so people are in ICU, people are in emergency units. We need to resolve this matter today, this night. In fact, whatever thing they want to do to resolve this matter this night, they need to resolve it.
How can it be resolved? We're hearing from the finance minister, Wale Edun, that, look, Nigeria cannot afford what Labour is asking for. Yes, it's one thing to say we cannot afford it, but can you come up with something that, you know, everybody can meet each other halfway?
You know, when you say something is a priority, this one is a priority. I expect that, obviously, at the end of the day, they will come to a meeting point. Some will come down, some will come up, and they will get to a meeting point. And when they get to that meeting point, they should look at this as a priority. If we can borrow money to do a project from one place to another, that project today is not a priority. This one today is a priority. So even if it means borrowing money to be able to start this process, to be able to avert this particular strike, so be it. Let's do it. And I also wish to plead that if government comes to a level where the labor union should accept, let them please accept, in the interest of our country, so that Nigerians won't suffer unduly.
Yes, indeed. Chijioke Ekechukwu is the MD, CEO, Dignity Finance and Investment Limited, former DG Nasima
Abuja. Chamber of Commerce.
Thank you so much for joining us on Newsnight. We hope by this time tomorrow, Reason would, have the day.